Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a bit of maintenance, but also a little bit of a modification here on the GR Yaris. You probably guessed it by the title and the thumbnail. So let's see what we've got. So this is what we're fitting here today. We've got rear pads and front brake pads. These are from JTM Garage. Really good service. Got these next day. I'll put a link somewhere about these. So we went for OEM pads. I did think of going for an aftermarket pad, but my car sometimes goes on track, and let's face it, the GR Yaris is over brake. These brake calipers are absolutely massive and the car doesn't weigh that much, so I didn't want to go for an aftermarket pad. Maybe in the future, but not quite yet. Next up, from the guys and girls over at Tegiwa, we've got some Performance brake pad shims. So the idea of these, I've only got the fronts at the moment because this is kind of a quick upgrade before we do a little European road trip. The idea is these are little carbon fibre shims, and they just stop the heat transferring from the caliper or the pad into the caliper and vice versa. I think it's more the pad into the caliper, and affecting brake performance. I've not given them a try, so we're going to give them a try and see how they go. Now, tools you're going to need, we've got the jack, so we can jack up the car, impact, just take off the wheels. I've got brake cleaner and some brushes, so we can clean up the brakes while we're in there. Might as well go into all this trouble. That's why there's a bucket with all the brushes in, so we're going to give it a quick clean down. Work gloves, a little bit of copper grease just to make sure everything's moving freely, some hand tools in case, and a jack stand so we can keep the car nice and safe. Hopefully it won't be too difficult. This is something I've never tried before, so let's go along for the ride and see how it does. I'm hoping it shouldn't be too hard.
I've been searching for the right time, but there's never a right time, only a wrong time. And I wish I could just be honest. I don't wanna say goodbye. If I can't fix this, I hope you believe that I tried.
So as you can see, disc isn't too bad. Tiny bit of a lip, but there we go again. That's 22,000 miles. We can see the caliper's pretty dirty and the pads are pretty worn. So what I'm probably going to do first of all is give this caliper a nice clean first, some brake cleaner, some microfiber towels, and then we'll start taking the pads out and see how bad they are. Alright, so we gave them a quick clean. You can see there's a little bit of dirt still down here, but I think that might be easy to get to once we've got the pads out. So what we need to do is take out this retaining clip first. That should just push out or pull out. There we go. And it should come out these pins. Yeah, just pull them towards the front of the car. There we go. That's out, and that's like a safety retaining pin. Put that to one side. Now these pins should slide out. They may need a bit of force. The retaining clips off. Wow, there's a lot of debris in here. There we go. Right, you can see the bracket is pretty dirty, so we'll give that a clean in a minute. Top pin as well, pretty dirty, so we'll give all this a clean before we put it back together. Try and get the bottom pin out now. This would be definitely easier if you had a set of mole grips or similar.
Racing through the BPM higher, glowing streets under wheels might elude.
Trying to get it all a bit unseized, really.
Accelerate, life in motion, forge ahead with fierce devotion. Accelerate, push it, don't drop it, through the city lights fly by night. Accelerate, our hearts throbbing, steel machines in sync, endless flight. Accelerate, engines.
Wow, that's in there very stiff. This is why. Really good idea. Let's make sure we put some anti-seize on these pins when we take these out. There we go. Second pin out. Now these are steel pins aiming in caliper, and that's where the issue is. Let's see if we can push back these pads a bit. Wow, looks like there's not going to be much left on these pads. They should just slide out now.
Accelerate, our pulses merging, Birmingham's heart, our racing line. Accelerate, the night's alive. Hear the roar where power drives. Accelerate, skyscrapers stand. Beat of the streets in midlife.
Pulling against the piston, just try and wind it back in a little bit. There we go. Right, first pad out. As you can see, not a lot of life left on that. I've definitely got my money's worth out of that one. It's got the anti-squill backing plate. We'll transfer that over to the new ones in a moment. But we need to get the other one out, and I fear the other one is worse than this one.
Racing through the BPM higher, glowing streets under wheels might illuminate our path so bright. Accelerate,
Try and loosen it up a bit.
motion, forged ahead with fierce devotion.
Right, again, push against it this time. Try and push back the pistons on the other side. There we go. Whew. And the inside one, a little bit worse for wear, so these definitely needed replacing. You can now push the pistons in almost by hand. Just check the dust boots, the rubber boots, make sure they're in good condition. Right, let's give this a good clean. As you can see, it's pretty dirty in there, and I want to try and clean out these holes here to make it easier for the pins to slide back in. So just going to take off these anti-squeal pads off the back of the old pad. Nice and simple. We'll give those a clean up in a moment. Still plenty of anti-squeal material on there, so these are still good. I know I've seen somewhere this has actually started peeling off. up quite nice. You can actually feel and see some of the corrosion building up on this. It's not smooth anymore. I think that's why it was so hard to get out. Right, so next up we need to assemble the pads. So we'll do the inner side one because I think it's going to be hardest. So it should be pad, then the shim. So start that on the back, and then the plate. It should leave snap on. Lining up all these holes, kind of like that. Use a bit of a screwdriver just to line these holes a bit better. So there we go, we've got shim, so the pistons push against there. So plate, so the pistons push against here, shim, and then the pad. Wow, look how much more meat's on that. Let's see if we can actually get it into the caliper without too much issue. First of all though, I forgot, I'm just going to put a bit of copper grease on these bits here where they rub because they might be a bit stiff. Got a tiny tube of copper grease, only needs to be a light application. Now copper grease is personal preference, there are other alternative products out there, but it's up to you whether you want to use or don't use at all. It's totally your decision. Some people don't put copper grease on, some people do. It's personal preference. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Can see straight through them, so that should be one in place. So next up is the pins and the clip. So from what I've been reading online, thank you Matt Howard for doing this on the Tegiwa channel. A little bit of copper on the pin, just where it rubs. What we're going to do is remember that this arrow here needs to point the direction of the brake disc. So we put this pin through first. Maybe you need to do a bit of tappy tappy. There we go, that's nice. Then this kind of goes under and clips into the pad. Both sides out, there we go, and then the top pin should go in. Magic.
Oh, magic.
Final bit is this little fiddly pin. So it should go with the tongue. Sorry, I'm should go with this tongue basically pointing forward through this hole. So what you can do is put in one of these legs into the pin, if you can find out where the hole is. And rotate the pin. There we go. Rotate the pin with that leg so it's in the right place for this clip. Then take it out and do the same with the other pin. With that copper grease, these do move quite freely. There we go, so that's in. Need to find the hole in the other one. Yeah. Start sliding in. Then put that through and it clips in. And then we're in. That's a front brake change. So we'll give it a quick spray down with a bit of brake cleaner. Fresh cloth. Looking like new. Whew. So that's a front one done. I tell you what, wasn't too hard. These were a bit stiffer, but easy with a pin. I think could be worth like maybe taking these out maybe once a year or so, just to keep them nice and freed up. Just make sure everything's attached. These pins go through this clip, both sides, and that's clipped into the actual pad because this is your braking system. This is your safety pin, and that's in nice and tight as well. Other than that, I think that's done. If you don't want to see me clean the wheels while we're at it, because I might as well while we're here, then skip to the next bit. I'll put a timestamp down below and we'll go and do the rear brakes. So now the wheel's all clean, I'll just double check everything on the caliper, make sure it's all tight where it should be, because this is braking after all. I've taken off the spigot ring, just clean this up with the brass brush as well. Let's get the wheel back on, get it torqued back up. Done. Okay, so to do the reel, we're just slacking off the bolts and then we'll jack it up. Bring you in a little bit closer. So the rear caliper, very similar to the front caliper, and in this case, but it's just one piston. So whereas we had two, we still have two pins, retaining clip, and the pads in here with the shims. I'm not going to put the carbon fibre shims on here. Brake pads on this side. Still has some life in, but thought I might do them all at the same time. So we'll give it a clean first, and then we'll see if we can get this off. First of all, this little clip again, should be just able to push it in, pull it out. There we go, and then that should come out. There we go, top pin again. So pliers will be very handy. Oh, there we go. Getting this little retaining clip should come out. Remember, direction of travel, so upwards this time. Let's try and get this last pin out. Hopefully this one's a bit easier. A lot easier. Right, let's fish out these pads then. Try and push back the piston. Oh, that's a lot easier than the front. One pad out, nice and simple. There we go. And that's why on the new ones we're going to put a bit of copper grease on these edges. Right, let's give this caliper a good clean. So the rear brakes just stop the exhaust rubbing on the floor really, so we just need to give it a good clean down. Put in the new pads. It looks like these had a bit of copper grease on them from factory. See that bit of corrosion on the end. So maybe some upgraded pins would be worth it. So new pad should clip on like that. There we go. And then we'll put a bit of copper. Oh, that's a bit too much. Wow, that's nice and easy. Arrow up on the back. It's at this point that I realised on the rear brakes it's actually best to put in the top pin first because it hooks over a little bit more than the bottom pin. More you know. But on the rear pad it's actually easier to do the top pin first. Just found out. It's the way that clips in. Holes already. want me to go. In a minute. Now we just need to put this pin. It's a little bit fiddly, so let's try and guide it through. So what I do is I just use that bit of the pin to pull it into hole and move it around. It should be fairly free moving, with it just being greased up. Up and push it forward till click. Perfect. Let's just give them a quick clean up. So last bit before you pop the wheel on, just do another sense check, make sure everything's tight, the clips are all in to the pins, the safety catches in there. This clip here, it isn't going anywhere. The pads look where they are. There's a little bit of movement on there, and that'll close up when we use the brakes. Perfect. Right, let's throw the wheel back on. First we need to clean it. Whoa, so there you go, there's a front and a rear done. I'm going to do the other two off camera, just because it makes it a lot quicker. You know what, this isn't too bad. I think the front, if things are nice and loose, or you've got some pliers and a punch, you could probably swap out the pads in about 15-30 minutes at most, so that's really good. Really nice design. So it hasn't been too hard, so I'm going to go and get on with the other side, and then I'll cut back to you when we've done that, and then we'll go and quickly take it for a drive and make sure everything's good. So there we go, took the car out for a quick drive, got it up to speed, tried it slowly, then just tried braking, seeing if the car brakes in a straight line and see if it brakes. I have to say, really positive pedal feel, so that's great to see. I am absolutely filthy, as you can probably see, and you know what? It probably took a little bit longer because we cleaned the wheels, but it wasn't that bad of a job. Those are the original pads that came with the car. So I think there's about 2 or 3 mils left in those, so not really much. So we definitely got our money's worth out of those. And I have to say, brake pedal feels really, really positive. Coupled with, we've just had it serviced with a gearbox service, or oil change on the gearbox. And I have to say, it feels beautiful to drive. It feels brand new. Shifts feel amazing, especially with the Cooler Works shifter. And the brake pedal is really positive. You can feel there's new pads in it. The brake pedal is a little bit higher, quite considerably higher. And you can definitely feel there's more initial bite and a lot more confidence in the brakes, that's for sure. I'm really, really happy with that. That is the old pad. Well, I think I left it a bit too long, and because of that they are quite stiff to get out. But that's 22,000 miles worth. That's the new pad. See a lot more life in it, so it should be good for another few thousand miles. Hopefully all good. Let's put the plate on. As I said during the video, a massive shout out to Matt Harwood, also not even that fast. So he was the person who I watched the video on the Tegiwa YouTube channel, and you know what, he made it look like it was something that I could achieve. I've never done brakes before. This was a learning curve for me, and I learned quite a lot on this, and I'm so proud I've done this. It makes you feel good. So if this inspires you, let me know, because yeah, I think if I can do it, you guys and girls can do it. Done it on the drive. Yes, it would have been easier on the ramp, but still really enjoyed it. So if you've got any feedback, if you've got anything that you think I could have done better, put it in the comments down below. Until next time, goodbye, have a good one.